Hi there, I'm Luther Blacklock from Explanar Golf. One of the great joys is getting interaction with you out there, and particularly for me when teaching pros respond to the content that I filmed. So Mark W. Golf from America, from Florida, has sent me a lovely question, and he's asked, does the wrist hinge that Bryson Dechambeau used, is there a wrist hinge that's conscious or isn't there? Can you definitively say that Bryson doesn't have wrist hinge? So Mark, it's a great question, thanks for sending it in. I think if you looked at the way that Bryson approaches things, with this being very high and making this all one piece, a bit like Mo Norman, he would imagine that he would go back and there would be no wrist hinge that was conscious. But what happens to Bryson, he goes back with a very simple non-wristy action, but the transition he then pulls, and in a very short space of time he actually gains wrist cock in the downswing. Centrifugal force then pulls him back into the straight line, and again he probably thinks that he goes through like this, but even on the follow through he will gain wrist hinge in the end. Not so important with Brysons Driver, but why is it that Bryson can still put under pressure, he can pull the ball to the left of the target? Well, the answer is, without wrist hinge you're fostering a pull shot to the left. So if I turn to the camera, Bryson goes back with no wrist hinge. The change of direction creates wrist hinge, he then dispenses it, he comes through, and there's wrist hinge again. Now with an iron, if you come through with no wrist hinge, the forearms win, the ball departs left and turns over. If Bryson allowed his wrist to hinge on the follow through, the club head would stay down the line for longer and the pull to left would be less likely to happen. So the same principles apply from novice to tour pro. What applies to Bryson can apply to you. But boy, you could be some sort of athlete to make the swing that Bryson does with the technique that he's using.